So what would the story have been if Bethany would have never called Dylan?
Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false. You knew that was false. For anybody who had never heard that before, that question is now planted into them, unqualified representation that Mr. Kohberger stalked one of the witnesses, and that's false. We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122. But we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. I've been wondering this for a really long time, and I've mentioned it in passing in other videos and in lives in the past, but this really needed to be a subject all by itself because this matters. What would the story have been if Bethany would have never heard the firecracker noise, saw the orangish light from underneath her door, and called Dylan?
Did you wake up at all?
I heard something like loud and Ruby like bark, because usually like she barks at things. And then I thought I saw like a firecracker, so I thought someone maybe was just drunk and like put a firecracker in the house. But I wasn't even really sure because I was kind of still asleep, so I wasn't sure if it was like real.
Loud, you thought you saw a firecracker because of a quick flash?
Yeah, through like my door, but I was like still half asleep, so I don't know if it was like real. I thought it was maybe true.
Yeah. Did you ever like pick up your phone to see what time it was?
Oh, maybe I might have called her and asked her what was happening, because sometimes we hear things and I'll call her and be like, oh, what was happening? She's just sleeping.
Because we've been under the impression the whole time that Dylan was the one that actually called Bethany after hearing the noises and hearing the crying and seeing the man. Yeah, no, that wasn't the truth at all. Hold on one second, guys. Before we go any further, I do need to thank today's video sponsor, Matchmasters. It's really difficult sometimes to shut your brain off, mine especially, when it comes to doing anything other than thinking about the Idaho 4 case or any of the other cases that we do discuss here on this channel, or really just the insanity of the everyday day. But I've really realized, especially since that one story I told you guys about, that I really needed to find something to be able to really get my mind off of stuff for a while. This comes through. And I'm not the only one in this house that loves this game. My little 7-year-old started playing this and just absolutely loves it.
For the review, Matchmasters is great. Definitely download it.
Okay. And it's not your typical just matching game either. There's lots of different boosters that you can choose to play with. This one specifically was my favorite. And you also get to play against real people from across the literal entire planet. Look, they're a wolf, I'm a cute little piggy. The whole point is to get a bunch of stars so that you can fill up your booster. Now look, after my first move, my booster is already set to go, and you see the face. He's so mad, he's about to lose and he knows it. And he just stays looking mad. Poor thing. There's no ads that start in your face the second that you go to play the next round. It's completely ad-free, and I absolutely love that about it. Now, if you click the link in my description box and download the game and start playing from there, not only does it greatly help out the channel, but you get started with a neat little starter pack just for using my link instead of going to your own Play Store or store on your phone and downloading it from there. So that's definitely a bonus for both of us. So again, thank you Matchmasters for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link in my description box to download it and get your starter pack and help out the channel, or just click on the QR code and get started playing today. And let's get back to the video. You guys remember how crazy everything went when the motions in limine started being filed and we got some information regarding text messages and phone call timelines between Bethany and Dylan. But the sad part, because I don't know how they thought this was going to fly without timestamps or any other information, the state ended up giving us this. From 4/22/08 to 4/24/27, Dylan and Bethany sent the following text messages. And this is all that they gave us. That Dylan told Bethany that no one was answering, that she was really confused, making it seem as if Dylan was initiating whatever ended up happening by alerting someone else in the house that there was a problem. In an objection to this, the defense ended up filing more information. And this is where we found out about Dylan adding a brand new contact to her phone at 3:51 in the morning. But notice how long there is in between the call from Bethany to Dylan at 4:19. See, the state's information starts down here at 4:22, skipping past all of the phone calls that were being not only had, but made and missed because these people were no longer alive. And again, 4:19, Bethany calls Dylan. Bethany calls Dylan to ask her if she heard the noise, if she heard the firecracker noise, because that's what woke her up. Dylan did not call Bethany when she saw the man go out the back slider and was freaking out because of all these things that she claims that she heard that night. This is what she told Officer Nunes at the scene.
And then all of a sudden I heard her walking up, I heard her scream, and she ran downstairs because she saw someone. Someone's here, and she screamed and just ran downstairs. And I called for her name, but I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. I heard someone in the bathroom, and I heard her crying, and I heard some guy say that you're going to be okay, I'm going to help you. And I kept calling her name, but she wasn't answering. And then I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask that was just covering his forehead and his mouth. And I locked the door, and I called, and I didn't know what to do.
This is at 4
4
this
a.m.,
morning?
yes. And so then I just ran down to
You left here?
Yeah, I left my room down to she's that one with the white blinds at the very bottom.
Okay.
I ran down there and we talked, and we just locked the door. We didn't think anything of it. We're like, nothing happens in Moscow. And then I called and said she thought maybe there was a fire or like a firework. We didn't know. She heard this loud noise and there was a light, I guess.
Did you hear like a pop, like a bang?
I don't know. Did you hear a bang?
It's what she heard.
Okay.
That's what she heard.
Okay, never mind. You sit there. I didn't hear that.
Why are we not being honest about that? I think it's a valid question. What would the story have been if Bethany would have never called Dylan? If nothing would have woke Bethany up, considering the fact that all that time and all those things were being heard, and Dylan never even alerted her. She was freaking out in the text messages. It says how much she's freaking out. She's told us that she was too scared to go down the hallway to check on Xana, but she still witnessed enough to have some sort of memory to remember that her positioning was the exact same 8 hours later. What would have been the story if Bethany would have never called Dylan about hearing something scary that woke her up, that made her concerned? Because it doesn't seem like Dylan was too concerned about her roommate being on the ground, motionless, pantsless, as a strange man leaves the house out the backsliding door and no one's answering the phone. And she's heard screaming and sobbing. There's no concern in Dylan's brain for this situation. As a woman, she doesn't acknowledge what this could be an act. She doesn't seem to have even told Bethany what she saw. At least that's what I'm understanding from what Bethany is out here also claiming. But why are we being told that Dylan, out of her scaredness, called Bethany? But that's not true. Now, when they start getting into conversations about how Xana was wearing all black and how Dylan's freaking out and saying, no, it was more like a ski mask, why wasn't she calling and telling this to Bethany before the timestamp that they're telling us SV1 is leaving the scene? This is minutes after the car has already left. Murphy is barking his head off. Neither one of them were even mentioning hearing the dog barking. So for her to say, Bethany, I'm not kidding, I'm so freaked out, but to have not even bothered contacting Bethany, to not have bothered even reaching out to anyone else at this point, because let's go back up to the timestamps. She's claiming that as she's hearing the screams, as she's hearing the sobbing, as she's hearing all of this stuff happening, that she is calling out to them, that she's making phone calls and nobody's answering the phone. But that's not true. From 3:51 in the morning until 4:19, when she answers the phone for Bethany, she's not making any of those phone calls. So if all of this starts after this person has already left the house, how does this timeline actually work? Now that I'm going in, editing, adding the footage, it's almost as if the 4:19 phone call is what would have triggered the person to have hightailed it out of there, like an, oh shit, somebody's awake type situation. And it's got to be something that you take into consideration as to the why, because Dylan is again the one claiming to be hearing and seeing all these things, yet she's not trying to actually physically contact anyone. The phone records prove her story is false. So yeah, to me, it's almost like a, oh shit, someone's up, time's up, you gotta go type thing. Bethany is not claiming to have heard any of these screams or any of this commotion that Dylan is claiming to have heard. So I really would like to know what you guys think. What would have been the alternative story here? Get creative, honestly, because we have enough facts for you to be able to put something together. And I would really like to know what you guys think the story would have been here, because I'm really curious if she would have never had gotten that phone call from Bethany, if Bethany would have never have been woken up by that sound, given the factual timestamps that we have right now, would there have ever been all these things that Dylan claims to have heard? Would there have even really been a man in all black with a mask on going out the back slider? Would there have even been a story? Or would it have just been, oh, I didn't actually hear or see anything, and I'm just as shocked as you are walking around the house the next morning and seeing all of this destruction? Oh no, what would it have been? There's no discussion between the two of them about all of these things that Dylan claims to have seen, at least when it comes to Bethany's recollection that we hear in her own interviews. There's not a lot of detail about anything between the two of them, other than the one weird part that we're still trying to figure out about how Dylan and Bethany are the only ones telling us that apparently Kaylee might have maybe been staying an additional semester and just ixnaying Austin out of her timeline altogether. Again, new information only coming from them, and we're still trying to wade through it all. But this has always bothered me, because she apparently sees all these things and she doesn't even bother to alert anyone else. She's not bothered enough to make phone calls, to call Bethany, to call anyone until after being alerted by Bethany that Bethany heard something. And I cannot be the only one who finds an issue with that. But again, I want to know what you guys think this would have ended up being, because I'm so curious. Let me know down in the comments, and let me know what you think about this just in general. And again, thank you Match Masters for sponsoring today's video. It really does help out the channel more than you guys know, and it's very, very appreciated. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, and please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.